Missiles are in the sky. Is it time to buy? I know that sounds pretty bleak, but this saying is famous on Wall Street. When there's missiles in the sky, it's time to buy. And right now, we have complete control over the sky. You're not going to do anything bad because big, beautiful America, that stuff that's manufactured here, nobody does it better than us. We are number one. And the data, what about the data? So Tech Middle East deals. This is where there's data centers at risk right now. NVIDIA, AMD, AWS. All right, interesting. Also have to note the fear and greed. So right now, we are forming a higher low, and we're back testing our previous high. That's pretty important. Thank you, Luke, for the observation. Because we're getting a back test. Sell, greed. Do we buy neutral or do we wait for fear? This will be very important. So if we look here, the reason why I'm making a bit of a joke today is because I think there's going to be a lot of red videos out there. And people seem to get quite confused about a red video or a green video. The notes don't change. The notes are the same. The notes are the second link or the first link in the description. And every single day I go through and provide my analysis. It's all here every single day and it's auditable. So what does that mean? I want to show you what is relevant. But to do that, you got to click on the video first. I don't know if you knew that, but that's the point. Click on the video, provide the value. That's what I'm trying to do. So if we look here, what are we on the week? Oh my goodness, we're green. That's right. We're higher by 53 cents or 0.09%. It's not a lot, but we're right here on our weekly higher low, 595.48, 596.76. So if we gap down tomorrow, or if we don't, is it going to hold? Because right now it is still technically a higher low. And we actually do have that one red day. If we look here to QQQ, it's not even flat on the week. It's up 0.5%. That's a pretty nice week. So, man, bring on the rocket ships. Let's go. So I showed you the risk with those data centers or the data centers. QQQ, no care. If we look here to SMH, it's higher by 1.79%. Whoa. Is it time for a win or time for a warning? That's right. You guys are going to tell me in the comment section. So today, that's what it's really about. And then on June 16th, which is yesterday, China also eased battery steel scrap imports and with an AI push because they're seen as a black hole in this green revolution. So that's very interesting. And then additionally, what do we note here? Chevron's making their first foray into lithium, made in big, beautiful America. And that's because their arch rival, ExxonMobil, is trying to do the same thing. This will be important and necessary for their transition. It's not only these companies, because this stuff is manufactured in big, beautiful America. And this is where Elon Musk actually spent $375 million to produce up to 1 million EVs per year. What is he trying to produce? Lithium. Lithium. Where's it going to go? Probably to his gigafactory, right, over in Texas, basically minting money. Whoa, mining mints money? Wow. If only there were some mining stonks we could find. And yes, Tesla's first U.S. lithium refinery making progress is in Texas. We can note where the issues are with their vertical integration and where their different ingredients come from. These are all the countries that are meeting basically right now. There's a lot of them in here. We also have some salt, so we can note that they're trying to be a little bit more innovative and sustainable in their process. And then notably, the lithium hydroxide producer Robstown is going to go over to their gigafactory in Texas, and they plan to expand that facility for recycling of battery materials and manufacturing scraps. Wait, what did China just say? China said they are opening up the market for scraps and batteries. Whoa, we seem really on point, almost like we're Nostradamus. Why? Because we can see the future. We're so prepared. We've done so much homework. We know what is coming. And going into tomorrow, bond investors are looking to the Fed for guidance on timing of rate cuts. All right. Now, at the midpoint of the show, I'm going to ask you for a huge favor. If you could please consider smashing that thumbs up or subscribing to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. So the G7 winds out today and they fly out tomorrow. I know because it's right in my backyard. It's 1 or 2 hours away. They have the airport shut down until tomorrow. That's when everyone's leaving. It's a three different day event, 15, 16, 17 at 3 locations. And Trump had to leave. But he says there's a deal within sight in the next 30 days. Awfully big coincidence because we think the next 30 days are going to be a bit of a sprint. That's right. We talked about the Tesla stuff, and we also talked about this one here. So we talked about their production. This is what I want to focus on for a minute here. So it's currently the 5-minute mark. G7 to collaborate on critical mineral supply chain. We just showed you the Tesla one, right? So Tesla, this happened 18 hours ago. Awfully big coincidence when we think about the company we've been talking about ad nauseum. Not going to talk about them today because we don't need to. The story on the macro level is sufficient. So 18 hours ago, ironically, just before the news release. But anyways, let's jump down here to the part that matters. Aclara, for example, wants to mine and process in Brazil to supply magnets in South Carolina. This is the Globe and Mail in Canada. I know people don't care about Canada, but this is the equivalent of the Wall Street Journal. It's close enough. Let's read this highlight right here. We recognize non-market policies. What is that? That's non-tariff barriers and practices in the critical mineral sector threaten our ability to acquire many critical minerals, including the rare earth elements needed for magnets that are vital for industrial production. Whoa. We will work together with partners beyond the G7 to swiftly protect our economic and national security. Wow. As part of that action plan, we're going to set standards. Whoa. We have a lot of raw resources up in Canada. We got a big, beautiful country. And there's honestly a lot of stuff going on here. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So why does this stuff matter? Right here. Aclara, which is the ticker ARA. I don't own anything in this one here, but I have been watching it pretty closely, and it's gone higher without me. It's currently higher by 12% of the week. This is the company mentioned in the article here. A lot of these stocks are moving big time. Sorry, not that one, this one. Aclara, for example, wants to mine and process in Brazil to supply magnets in South Carolina. Whoa. The mega big up crew is coming to multiple stocks. We got MP. What's happening to these other ones? I can't remember off the top of my head. What did we have? We had one or two more. Let's just look really, really quickly because I'm curious. USAR, pew, right? That one's a loser, it looks like. TMC, wow, 25%. Stud. Omex, it's up by 8 on the week. Hey, not bad. All right, critical minerals. It's almost like if the G7 or the group of 7, the 7 richest and most industrialized countries in the world, decide they want to do something and they go burr, it goes burr. So this really matters because they plan to boost financing for mines and export credits, blah, blah, blah. Anticipating critical mineral shortages. We know about all these ones here. What I want to jump down to is actually that we were looking at CBPM, which is an organization over in Brazil, and how on the same day, on the 12th, what did they have? They have the Chamber of Commerce for Canada and Brazil, where they had a ceremony where they did this in Salvador. Big deal. And this matters for everybody around the world, because if we try to find out where Tesla's battery anodes are going to come from, or even the solar stuff, comes from a lot of countries. The stuff matters. And the battery technology right now, it seems like the Dragon, or BYD, is now leapfrogged. That's a really big deal. All right, let's round it out by looking at our notes here. So I didn't hear anything about June 19th yet, so I don't know. I think we're going to have to hear about it. We have a holiday on the 19th, but the really important thing is this right here. It's Jerome Powell. So I'm now actually going to check off the G7 because we're not getting a joint communique. We normally get one. This year we're not. We talked about that yesterday. Tomorrow, retail sales, who even cares? FOMC statement and press conference tomorrow. I want to wrap the video up at 8 to 10 minutes. So this is what I'm going to do now. Close that out. We talked about what could happen on the S&P for the first and second half of the week. So we talked about how the DAX and EWC were already at new all-time highs. Let's have a look at that. All right, back testing the all-time high. That's Germany, right? It's a German mega up crew. Canada, oh my God, it's sagging down by 0.68%. So the US needs to come up. And I only have about a minute left. So this is what I found. If we go here to the list for today, I'm seeing a flight to safety. Sell stocks, that's S&P, that's the NASDAQ, buy the dollar, sell treasuries, which means they're getting bidded. If you don't understand that, they work inverse to stocks. When they're getting bid, they go down. Gold, down. Volatility, up. Bitcoin, down. That is a flight to safety. This is what we've not been seeing during the tariff war, because it is a war. Normally, it's the opposite, or bizarro world, which is why I've been calling it bizarro world. But when there's military war, oh boy, people are fleeing to what they perceive to be safe. And right now, that is big, beautiful America. So, first half of the week, where are we? Well, technically we're green, but we're at the low of the week. So we opened up, pushed up, sold off, and now we're at the low. That's the way to think about that candle right there. Trying to make it a little bit easier for you to understand. All right. Anyway, so that's why we have a full candle here. We have two hammers. Hammers mean that, all right, let's see if I can draw this here. So full candle, right? This one's full. I'm a terrible drawer, so I don't like to do it. We have a hammer and we're at the low. This is the open. That's where we currently are. That's the high. That's an inverted hammer. That's our current candle. We did that twice in a row. So did we really get a move down into the first half of the week? Because if we did, the snapback might be here, baby. Whoop. And then if we get an update on anything else, I'm already over time, but I'm going to push for another minute or two here. The reason why is this. What I often ask myself is, what else do we have to worry about? Because we're doing one of two things at any given time. We're going down the slope of hope, or we're going up the wall of worry. So if we're going down the slope of hope, you're bearish. If we're going up the wall of worry, yes, there's things to worry about. But if you look to the chart, isn't that kind of what we've been doing? We've done a recovery. Yes, it's technically lower. So, right, that's the salmon joke. That's a Sammy joke. We're technically lower, but like we've done a pretty good snapback. We've come back up to the top. So all the way back up to the top. Are we seeing performance chasers, profit takers, premature eradicators? Man, I was averaging in today. I was looking for some bargains. That's what I felt like I was doing. No momentum yet. Not for the stocks I'm buying. I bought about 6 or 7 stocks today. And that's just me. That's why I'm saying it's time to buy. So if now we have all of these things that are potentially scary, what do we have? All of the black swans. For a true superpower, we have military, economic, and then we also have military, currency, and economy. Right now, the U.S. is the king. That's why I'm seeing the flight back to safety here. So all three have been challenged. And as much as I hate to admit it, again, I got a little bit scared over here, right? I was managing risk, and I warned you up over here. So anyways, I'm not going to try to say that I'm a perfect trader. What happened over here, this was maximum fear. If we don't get an all-out trade war at 150% or 1,000,000%, or we don't have a multi-front war, because Donald Trump said two things when he got elected, and I like that he said these. Says he wants to be the unifier and a peacemaker. All right, are we unified? Well, if you remove the U.S., yeah, there's unification. Is there a global peace? No, it's actually gotten worse. And I don't think it's really his fault. The stuff is complicated, but he had high hopes. So what for me this means is good intentions. I'm unclear on the execution yet. It's just like a trader. I always want to make money. Sometimes I lose. Why? Good intentions, poor execution. So now that we have all these knowns that are now known, that's why the market had a really big excite move yesterday. The big move up into Monday, because we didn't have the worst case scenario for the missiles, which meant what? Buy the dip. If you bet against the end of the world, how are you going to cash in? If you're right, all right, let's go to zero. Market goes to zero. How do you collect your money? There's no world left. Huh? There's nothing left. How are you going to get paid? Oh. So missiles are in the sky. Maybe it's time to buy. Yes. And this is where if we get a gap down was for buying. Gap down was for buying. Might be an exhaustive move. Maybe it happens tomorrow because this market moves fast. And I don't know. Slope of hope, wall of worry. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow.